Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Misa Drevis, and welcome to a late upload for Misa's Comfy Corner. I apologize for not uploading this yesterday. I have no excuse for this one other than that I become addicted to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Just today I finished the story mode in school, played a few matches with a friend of mine. It's pretty cool. I basically got all of the characters in story mode or adventure mode, World of Light, as it's called. The only one I didn't get is Pauline, but that's understandable. She's really insanely tough to get. But yeah, enough about my insane addiction. So welcome to Misa's Comfy Corner. I got some stuff to talk about with you today. This is gonna be more about artsy stuff, more specifically the arts, as it's called. And yes, you have to say it like that. So the story has to do with school. According to my sister, a friend of hers is trying to do something for the dance crew. But apparently, the school has decided not to really, accept it as like a sport or like a big thing or anything. No one really cares about the dance club anyways, or crew. Well, we just call it the dance team. Apparently they have to buy their own costumes and stuff. They're able to perform in rallies, but it's more just like a part that doesn't really get too much attention. The only things that gets attention are the games and the cheerleaders and stuff, and the football team. The dance team is really overlooked, and they actually don't really have any funding at all, really. I don't think. Keep in mind, a lot of this is kind of just speculation, but apparently they have to do their own promoting. They need to talk to this teacher about one simple thing, and they just deny it. And yeah, that kind of has to do with all of the arts and stuff at school. Of course, the art class actually gets funding because it's a class that you kind of have to take. It's one of those I guess I like to call it the secondary classes, like gym and the computer stuff and library. The library's not a class, but it's kind of more I feel it's kind of separate to the regular classes like math, English, science, and all that stuff. It's accepted as a class, it's kind of up there with what you think about when you hear about school, but it never really gets as much attention as the actual classes. That's why I call it secondary, as compared to primary classes like the science, the English, the math, all stuff like that. But enough about my jibber jabber and my yada yada yada, because no one likes yada yada yada. That's what you hear on those television commercials. But what we're here to talk about today is really the arts and its place in society. So when you think about the arts, you more think about paintings and stuff by people like Van Gogh and all that stuff. But art can be a lot of things as long as it's able to convey a message and has meaning. And it's a lot of stuff, in my opinion. Of course, when you think about arts, usually what people think about what it means is expressions and expressing oneself. And while that is a part of it, it's not necessarily arts in its whole. According to my father, whom himself is a fan of theater, as he was a theater kid growing up, and thus passed down his love of theater to me. My favorite, performance is Hamilton on Broadway. Went to see it multiple times, not to brag. Enough about that. But yeah, according to my dad, the arts is more than just expressing oneself, but it's also asking the question why, or more specifically, having the viewer of the art piece think the question why. It actually gets people to ask questions and think about more of why was it portrayed this way? Why did the artist make this? Whatever question you could think of that comes to that uses the word why. And, however, a lot of people view the arts as rebellious, as it makes you think outside of the box. It makes you wonder things. And now, also, one thing that I want to note is that art can have different meanings depending on the person, ranging from people like the creator to the viewer, the consumer of the art piece. Art doesn't just have one meaning. What if it could have one meaning from one person, it could have a meaning for another. That's kind of what I interpret music as. I interpret music differently from the creator, and I think that's great. And I think that's good to think differently from the creator when it comes to an art piece, because while it can mean something to the creator of the artwork, it could also have a different meaning ranging from the person who views it. I mean, it gives them a different impact. Like, for instance, the way I see the song Churira Da Da Da, the Wonderlandic Showtime song that was also sung by pretty sure was Yukari, I don't remember her name correctly, but whatever. That song, it has to do with kind of like rebellion at school, in my opinion. I don't know exactly the real meaning, but that's what I've kind of seen it as. And of course, the song Usiwa Bayadu, it has to do with going against the norms and traditions of the Japanese work environment and the culture around it. And I think it's great that there are all these meanings. And like for the Adu song, I see, in my opinion, or at least for me, it holds the meaning of rebelling against what society, what society demands from you, the expectations that society puts on you. And I think that's great. But when it comes to a lot of closed-minded people, the arts is rebellious. And it is, but it's also seen as, well, it has this, God, I forgot the word, but it has this, the stigma. Yeah, the stigma. It has this negative stigma, this negative interpretation from closed-minded people who want things simple. They want simplified because their tiny brains can't really comprehend, the vast meaning and the vast different ideals that conflict with their own. So they want to keep it simple-minded. That's going back to school. That's why they've always pushed sports. Everyone always pushed sports. It's if you can't walk around 10 inches in America without seeing one thing about sports. Kind of annoying, if I'm being honest. I've never really been a sports fan of myself, but I can at least see why people like it, I guess. It's competition, and I think that's cool, but and I don't mean to talk badly about sports. Of course, you're free to like sports. It doesn't make you a bad person, and you can like sports and like the arts at the same time. Like, for instance, my dad. He's a fan of football. He's never missed a Super Bowl in his life. But yet he also has a love for theater and the arts, and I think that's cool. But, going to, people who like sports but are also kind of more closed-minded, well, when it comes to sports, a lot of it has to do with what you're being told to do. The coaches, they're telling the players, the strategy, what they have to do, and they do it. They do it, no questions asked, Whereas when it comes to the arts, there's really no one correct answer. There's really no straight line through it. It's all of these squiggly lines. It's all fluid. There's no right or wrong in the arts. There's no rules to the arts. There's no telling you what to do. It promotes free thinking and critical thinking, and it promotes thinking in general. Whereas with sports, you're told what to do, no questions asked. And that's why it's beloved by people who are closed-minded and who don't really think too much about the orders that they're given about why we do things. They never ask the question why. The only question they ask is, what do I have to do? Or heck, they don't even ask that. They're just told what to do, and they don't question it at all. They never question anything. They are told what to do. They're told they're told the rights and wrongs of society, and they follow it. And they criticize the people who take a different path. It's this. Remember, it's this artwork of there's two roads. There's like a crossroads, and everyone's taking this path, like the right path. You know, the path that's on the right. I don't mean it as like, no, this is the path you have to take. The other path is the wrong path, but it's the path on the right side, and then there's this one guy taking the path on the left. And I think it's a picture that it's an art form. The picture is part of the art form, and it asks the question of why. Why is he taking the other path? And there's like this quote that's like just because everyone chooses one thing doesn't mean the other way is wrong, or something like that. And I think it's cool. I think it helps you to think, and I think I know for a fact that's what I love about the arts. It makes you think. It's self-expression, of course, and I love that aspect as well, but it makes you think. It makes you wonder why, and that's why I love the arts. I remember making this film series Channel 10. It's self-expression, but it also has people ask the question of why is the world in it like this? And that's kind of part of the of chapter 2. Once chapter 1 of the series is done, I don't know when I'll really pick it back up again, but you know, and during a time where I'm not as busy, I'll pick it back up again. Don't you guys worry, for anyone who's a fan of the series, and by that I mean like 2 people. But more than that, and this is something that I don't really want to share out loud because I'm not really ready to share it yet, but I might as well. I make music. Not exactly making music, I'm a cover artist. That's what I do. And yeah, haters go hate and all that shit. But my music is part of the art form of course, the musical arts. And I use my music to express a message that can be interpreted by other people. Like, for instance, that basically does me going over a lot of my covers, but World's End Dance Hall, I made it prior to a Christmas party at my Nana and Pepe's house, and it was meant to talk about my insecurities of like the relationship between my sexual orientation and the viewpoints of my family members, more specifically people who are more on the elderly side, like my Nana and Pepe. Then there's Lost Ones Weeping, which is meant to talk about my feelings towards the American school system, more specifically my history in school. Then there's many of the other songs I've made. Usiwa and Trash talk about the political state of the country that I live in, America. And then there's also 2 more songs that haven't been released, and that I haven't even worked on yet, but I'll get to it. Those being Magic and the Purge March for Milgram. They're meant to talk about how the newly formed MAGA conservative party is basically a cult. And then there's Twilight Melody and Tengaku. They're more encouraging songs for the call to action in my series of songs criticizing the recent political state of the country. It's standing up for what's right in a way that's able to encourage people. It helps you to feel good, it helps you to feel safe and protected, and I think that's what I love about my music. But of course I'm going on a tangent. Back to football. Football, it gets funded more at the school because it's what's popular. And where I live, the town where I live, it has a fairly large conservative Republican population. Of course, it's not as large as that of the Democratic population, the liberal population, but it's fairly large, and I see a lot of that around town, at school. I see a lot of people who are conservative, who don't really, who are not really the nicest people, who don't really give a fuck about the people around them. And that's sad. And those people also support the town's football team, even though they suck ass. And yeah, that's really just what's pushed around here. Like football, football, football. It's known for football. Well, our town slogan, it's known for football, okay? That's what it's known for. Our town is just known for football. Yet our fucking football team sucks. That's fucking hilarious. But yeah, I don't think our football team's won a championship game since I've been alive. Yeah, that sucks, and yet it garners way more attention than that of the arts, of the dance group. Our cheerleaders, they really don't do anything, yet they're promoted more than the dance team. Not to say that the cheerleaders are terrible. Of course, the cheerleaders are great. They give the team morale. They cheer for the team. I think that's great, but also still, that's kind of all they do. They cheer. I'm not trying to throw the cheerleaders under the bus. We appreciate them, and we appreciate how they're cheering the team on. They're raising our morale and boosting our spirits. But also, the dance team can do the same thing, and they also have dancing. So, yeah, I'm sorry. No offense if you're a cheerleader. That's just how I view it. Yeah, but that's also, that's kind of it, really, to talk about here. But yeah, one more thing, the relationship between the arts and the government, we all see President Trump talking shit about things like news channels like CNN and MSNBC for just reporting on the news and doing their job, along with other people who are just doing their job. And that censorship of the media, not the criticism. He's able to criticize them. I mean, he's stupid. It looks stupid, but there's no law saying he can't criticize them. But also saying that they should be shut down or illegitimized and stuff like that. That's kind of censorship of the media, because if you're making them not news stations, then just because they hurt your little feelings, then that is censorship of the media. And then what's next? Of course it has to do with the arts, because you censor the news. They're the ones who are reporting the news, giving you the facts, but also you have to censor the arts as well. You have to censor the thing that makes people ask the question why and questions your rule. I do think is it a bit of a stretch? Maybe, but I do think it makes sense, because the arts, they're a reflection on how someone sees the world, how someone views things. And if they view the world, or if they view you as someone who's a negative person, if they view Trump as someone who's a bad person, who's a tyrannical ruler, which is probably most artists, then of course he has to censor that if he wants people to stay under his control. I feel like it only makes sense. Not saying that he's going to be able to censor the media and the arts and stuff like that. He can try. I doubt he'll succeed. But yeah, I'm not saying it will happen, but it is something to think about. I like to keep you guys thinking. It's a good thing to think, and we're free thinkers here. We can think for ourselves, and if you criticize me in any way, I will take it into consideration, and I will listen to your criticism, because constructive criticism is great, as long as it remains respectful and it's able to be conveyed in a way that I can understand. So yeah, that's it for today. Really not, in the mood to give you guys really any positive, life lesson. Not that I'm in a bad mood, but kind of just that I'm I don't know, I've been feeling a bit burned out about this lately. I'm sure I can just shake it off by, getting more sleep, getting onto a better sleep cycle, and, managing my time more wisely. I will be getting back to a cover that I'm working on tomorrow. I'm sure that I'll have a free lunch period tomorrow where I can go outside and do some vocal warm-ups, but who knows? I'll still try to get back on track because, of course, music is something that I want to do in the future, and I want to keep, posting stuff on here, making you guys happy, and, gaining more followers and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. But, yeah. I guess that is kind of, my positive thing for today, Even if you're feeling burned out, it's important to keep on chasing your dreams, otherwise they'll never come true. I know it's hard, but with enough motivation, discipline, and support from others around you, you can make your dreams come true. And I've been seeing that around me every day, of people who I love and care about supporting me and my ventures, and I could not be more thankful. So I'll leave you at that, and goodbye.